Good morning. This is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. The fire potential headlines for the week include continued hot, dry, and windy conditions across the Great Basin today. We'll see mixed wet, dry thunderstorms move into mainly Utah Wednesday and Thursday. The strong winds return to Utah Friday and Saturday, and then much cooler and wet conditions move into the north for the weekend. As far as the fuels, large fire potential remains very high across Utah and Nevada with a record of fuel dryness. Fire potential impacts for the next couple of days are shown here. We continue to see those very hot and dry and windy conditions expected across much of the Great Basin today into tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll also see those mixed wet, dry thunderstorms moving up into Utah, mainly Utah, eastern Nevada, and up into eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. Definitely expecting an increase in IA on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, those storms will be continuing maybe with a more limited extent across central and eastern Utah and up into western Wyoming. Temperatures will start to cool down a bit on Thursday, but we'll still see some gusty winds across southwest Utah. Yesterday was a quiet day, no precip, no lightning. Yesterday was a big day for fire. Most notably, the Cottonwood fire really blew up yesterday. We had only 9 new fires, but 10,000 acres, most of those coming from that Cottonwood fire. And our large fire growth was over 11,000 acres. Smoke expected for today and tomorrow is shown here. Definitely a lot of smoke out there across Utah with the ongoing fires that will continue into tomorrow as well. And then we do have some smoke coming in from our neighbors to the northwest. Overall fire danger continues to be very high across Utah, eastern Nevada, and up into southern Idaho. Here we're looking at the Fish Lake area near where the Cottonwood fire is occurring. We can see those ERC values are definitely above normal for the time of year, not quite reaching those historical maximums, but still very high with the ongoing hot and dry conditions. But we do expect to see those flattening out a bit over the coming days, just with that slight increase in moisture and then maybe some cooler temperatures coming in for the weekend. Looking at the forecast for the next couple of days, we have a lot going on. For today, we're looking at high pressure ridge still in place across the area for those continued hot, dry conditions with breezy winds across the southern Great Basin where we have high risk. Tomorrow, we see low pressure start to move into the Pacific Northwest, which will help draw some southerly moisture up into Utah, kicking off those mixed wet, dry thunderstorms. We do have high risk issued for those across southern Utah and into southeast Nevada. And on Thursday, that low continues to draw a little bit closer, sweeping some of the moisture a little bit further east into southern and eastern Utah for those thunderstorms there. Definitely a good news, bad news type of situation with these thunderstorms. The RHs might come up a little bit. There may even be a little bit of precipitation with some of these storms, but definitely expecting new IA as well as gusty outflow winds from those thunderstorms could be a real problem for ongoing fires out there. Looking at the wind in RH for the next couple of days, today is another dry, breezy day across the southern Great Basin and along the Sierra front. Tomorrow, we'll see winds pick up a bit in those same areas across the southern Great Basin and the Snake River Plain, and then we'll see a big increase in outflows with those thunderstorms as they move into southern Utah. And then on Thursday, winds again strong across the southern Great Basin and across parts of western and northern Nevada. RHs do come up a little bit across the higher elevations tomorrow and into Thursday, but it's not a very significant increase, although the areas that do see actual precipitation could benefit. Looking at the precipitation itself, not expecting much today, maybe some isolated storms developing late in the day across southern Nevada and far southern Utah Arizona Strip. Tomorrow is the bigger day with widespread thunderstorms possible, especially over the higher elevations of Utah. And again, these will be kind of a mix of wet and dry or starting dry and maybe becoming a little bit wetter throughout the day. Best chance for a wetting rain will be at the higher elevations. And then on Thursday, we'll see those thunderstorms decreasing and becoming a little bit more limited to central and eastern Utah, as well as western Wyoming. For the second half of the work week, that low continues to move closer to the Great Basin on Friday, bringing a dry cold front across the south, and that's really going to increase winds and bring in dry conditions back to Utah. Behind that lightning activity Wednesday and Thursday. This is definitely going to be a problematic weather pattern with those strong dry winds following a couple of days of lightning. So the winds will continue Friday into Saturday as that low moves into the northern Rockies and northern Great Basin, tracking across the northern areas on Sunday. This is quite a potent low for late June. We are expecting some decent precipitation to the north and quite cool temperatures across the north as well. Looking at the winds, again, picking up ahead of that low on Friday and Saturday, strong widespread winds across Utah, just where we don't need it, behind that lightning activity and the ongoing large fires. Low relative humidities are expected to move in once again for Friday into Saturday across Utah and Nevada, but we can see the RH has come up quite a bit across the north, Friday, Saturday into Sunday, as some precipitation will be moving in there. Looking at the precip again, precip starting to move into western Idaho on Friday, becoming more widespread across the north on Saturday, and then just lingering across the eastern and far northern areas on Sunday, with dry conditions really persisting across Utah and Nevada. One comment on the temperatures, maximum temperatures today here on the left, very hot, highs in the mid to upper 90s, at least 5 to 10 degrees above normal for the time of year. Today's probably the most widespread hottest day of the week, and then we gradually start to cool just a little bit, but the coldest temperatures will come in over the weekend with that low moving across the north. Temperatures drop down into the 70s across many areas across the north, and even cooler in some spots. To sum things up, we've got wind today across the south. The lightning starts to come in across the south Wednesday into Thursday. And then wind returns to Utah Friday into Saturday ahead of the low. Cooler temperatures and precipitation coming to the north Saturday into Sunday, but conditions staying dry across Utah and Nevada. Then the extended forecast for June 28th to July 2nd calls for below normal temperatures across the Great Basin, but continued dryness over Utah and Nevada, with maybe a better chance of precipitation continuing across Idaho. That concludes today's briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.